Right now, as I'm recording this video, Dharmendra Pradhan has resigned as India's education minister. Not because the court decided it or not because the opposition finally passed a no confidence motion or whatever, but because a bunch of Gen Z kids, to be honest, a lot of Gen Z kids, sat there at Jantar Mantar demanding only one thing, that is Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation. And that too for weeks, getting tear gassed, getting beaten by police, and whatnot. But they still refuse to leave. And before you close this tab thinking what this has to do with my agency or my business, just give me 9 minutes. Because there's a mechanism inside this story that explains almost exactly why you have been stuck at the same place in terms of revenue in your business where you are right now. And yeah, I know most of you are thinking, what the heck is this teenager doing explaining me about business, teaching me about business? And honestly, it's a fair question. If I see some 3 or 4-year-old kid explaining me about business, I'd be skeptical too. So I'm not going to defend my age, nor am I going to say I have this many experience or whatsoever, although I do have. But here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna simply give you the mechanism right here, right now, and you tell me whether it works or not. And of course, you can judge it regardless of who is saying it, based upon your experience, based upon your action. So, here's the mechanism. In chemistry, there's a concept called activation energy. A reaction can be thermodynamically favorable, meaning it wants to happen, meaning the end state is technically better than the starting or start state, and it still won't happen on its own. And do you know why? Because there's a barrier in middle, and to break that you need a spark, you need a catalyst, some burst of energy that pushes the system over that hump so that it can reach the end goal or the end state. Now look at what happened with Dharmendra Pradhan. Honestly, the NEET paper leaks weren't new, right? There were multiple leaks before. There was a NEET paper leak before too. Exam integrity problems have been building in India for years, quietly in the background, while everyone just sort of absorbed it like chalta hai, this is how the system works. The problem existed long before the protests did. So what changed? The thing that changed wasn't the problem. What changed was that the pressure accumulated so much in one singular point at one singular time that it crossed the threshold, so much so that it resulted into the resignation of Dharmendra Pradhan. Once students started dying by suicide over retest, once Sonam Wangchuk started his hunger strike and continued it for weeks and weeks straight, the system crossed its activation energy. And only then something that was thermodynamically overdue for years actually happened. Okay, now here's where I connect it to you guys. I don't want you to sit here and just nod or just listen to it. You already know outbound works better than referrals. You already know what you need to do in your business. You probably have even said this to your co-founder or your spouse that I need to work on the front end of the business. I need to start doing outreach somehow. I need to start with the front end sales. That's not new information for you. The problem isn't that you don't know the reaction is favorable. You know the reaction is favorable. You know that the outcome is favorable for you. The problem is you are sitting below your own activation energy. You will need a spark before you actually pick up that phone and start cold calling. You will need a spark before you actually hire that guy, hire that agency to do your outreach or to do your front end of the business, front end of your sales. And honestly, for most agency owners I talk to, that spark comes only when there's a financial crisis in their personal life, in the business. A big client leaves them suddenly without any prior notice. The revenue drops from 8 lakh to 2 lakh or even 4 lakh. The payroll is in 12 days. And suddenly you are doing all of that in a week that you should have done 4 months ago. This is what actually matters in this video, by the way. You do not have to wait for the crisis to generate your activation energy. That's the entire difference between agency owners who are plateauing over 3, 4, 5 or 6 lakhs and the agency owners who are continually growing to 10, 20, 30, 40, even 50 lakhs per month. And the ones who break past that plateauing are the ones who actually create the artificial spark inside them. What they do is they create a very boring, structured 1 hour non-negotiable zone where they only do outreach or only focus on the front end of the business or the sales of the business. That too for every single day of every freaking week. Whether they feel like it or not, whether the business is good or not. They don't think I'll do outreach or I'll do sales call later down the line eventually, I'll book that later down the line eventually. They have a fixed window of 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. or anywhere in between, or honestly any time, right, where they actually do the work, where they actually do the outreach, where they actually do the sales calls. And honestly, I run this exact structure for myself in Zen Acquisition around this very specific idea of a structured, very boring but non-negotiable task zone of calling, outbound dialing, doing everything I can to get new clients, get new prospect in the pipeline. The front end problem of every business owner in India that is stuck in a plateau isn't that they don't know what to do, is the fact that they don't have that activation energy which is required to start the work, which is required to do the sales call, which is required to do that outbound. Most agency owners already have a good workable offer. What they don't have is the forcible condition that will make them force to actually sell it consistently, make them cold call consistently, make them outreach consistently, independent of how they think or how they feel every single day. When we ran that exact system, that exact activation energy system for one of our client, we generated them 23 high ticket appointments within 3 weeks. Not because the pitch was some genius unlock or whatever, but because we were consistent and we had that activation energy unlocked, which made them do the consistency at the rapid rate which they don't even realize they actually had. And here's my ask from you, and I don't mean it rhetorically, I mean it literally. Don't wait for the bad month. The CJP didn't win because they became right suddenly within 2 or 3 days. They kept protesting, they kept doing what they needed to do to actually achieve their goal. Their core argument was correct for years. They won because they manufactured enough sustained pressure that they crossed the threshold themselves and made the government do the same too. You have to do the exact same thing for yourself. Manufacture that artificial activation energy so that you don't have to rely on another financial crisis or another client that might leave to you start panicking and then only you do the work. Don't depend on that. Start doing the work. And if you want to see exactly how we manage that daily blocking schedule, how we exactly manage that question scripts, how to create those scripts, how to actually sell, then click on that link in the description and in the pinned comment as well. Complete honesty here, that will lead you to a funnel. We all are businessmen, we all know that. But yes, it will help you. It will help you to get more clients and get you more than where you are right now, get you to that level where you want to be. You are gonna book a 15-minute call with us through that link, and you are gonna see exactly how we do what we do for others. And yeah, that's it. It's very exciting. Click on that link below and see you soon.